Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into a pretty crucial weather outlook and warning report. It covers Europe, West Russia, and the North Caucasus for, let's see, July 31st to August 9th, 2025. But we're not just looking at the forecast itself. It's more about connecting these, well, immediate patterns to the bigger picture, climate change. So what's our mission with this one?
Yeah, our mission really is to understand these dynamic, often really contrasting weather setups across this huge area. And crucially, like you said, see how these short-term forecasts actually line up with the long-term climate trends. We'll explore the specific risks to heat waves, storms, what you need to be aware of. Get the full picture.
Okay, good. Let's unpack that. Before we jump right into the forecast details, what's the sort of foundational climate context here? What is the report set up?
Well, the really critical insight is that Europe is warming faster than any other continent. It's accelerating. The World Meteorological Organization, the WMO, they're projecting something like an 80% chance of a new record warm year between now 2025 and 2029. And get this, an 86% chance of hitting that 1.5 degrees Celsius mark above pre-industrial levels in that same window.
86%, wow.
Yeah, and this faster warming, especially in places like Central, Southeastern Europe, the North Caucasus, it creates steeper temperature gradients, sharper differences between hot and cold air.
Right, steeper gradients. And that does what exactly?
Well, it can really alter atmospheric patterns. It can intensify weather systems quite dramatically.
So the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, they connect this directly to human activity, right? This isn't just a natural cycle.
Exactly. Their latest report couldn't be clearer. Human-caused emissions are directly boosting the frequency and the intensity of extreme events. We're talking heat waves, extreme rain, droughts, the whole range. It really highlights Europe's vulnerability, why these extremes are becoming, well, the new normal.
Okay, so that's the backdrop. Now let's get into the forecast itself from July 31st. This is where it gets really interesting with the contrasts, I think.
It really does. It's almost like a tale of two Europes for this period. For Western and Central Europe, including parts of the Med and the Balkans, they're forecasting a pretty significant temperature drop.
A drop? After all the heat?
Yeah, like 4 to 8 degrees Celsius lower than usual for early August, so much needed relief. Think about Belgrade, Serbia, just saw, 44 degrees Celsius? It's expected to cool right down to around 10 Celsius.
That's a huge swing.
It is. And this cold wave, it's also bringing some critical rain to Central and Northern Europe, which they definitely need.
Okay, but connecting back to that bigger picture, the heat doesn't just vanish entirely, does it? Where does it go?
No, far from it. It sort of gets pushed or reinforced elsewhere. Over in West Russia and the North Caucasus, that extreme heat, it's expected to just stick around, maybe even get worse. Cities like Volgograd looking at highs of 32, 35 Celsius, that's 90, 95 Fahrenheit. And the North Caucasus region, Grozny included, facing persistent extreme heat, 34 to 41 Celsius, that's up to 106 Fahrenheit.
Oof. And the report mentions something called the August curse in Russia.
Yeah, it's this historical context where intense August heat has often coincided with disasters. It just underlines the serious health risks in those areas right now, dehydration, heat stroke, all that.
So you've got this intense cold pushing in from the west, meeting this stubborn extreme heat in the east. What happens where they collide? That sounds volatile.
That's exactly the word the report uses, volatile environmental conditions. It raises a big question, especially for the Eastern Balkans, Italy, the Adriatic region. The forecast warns of a high risk of severe weather right along that boundary.
Severe like
supercell thunderstorms, potentially. Very large hail, maybe up to 6 centimeters, that's nearly 2.5 inches. Damaging winds, possibly 120 kilometers per hour or 75 miles per hour. And torrential rain.
Torrential rain, okay. How much are we talking?
Locally, maybe 100 to 200 millimeters. That brings a significant risk of flash floods. Areas like southeast Slovenia, northern Croatia, parts of the Italian coast need to be particularly watchful.
And these aren't just, typical summer thunderstorms then.
Yeah.
How does this intense activity link back to the climate trends we talked about earlier?
Precisely. It links directly back. That extra energy and moisture pumped into the atmosphere, classic hallmarks of climate change. They're the fuel for these intense storms, these convective events. And here's a really critical paradox we're seeing more of.
Okay.
Even if a region is drier overall, long periods without much rain, the ground gets baked hard. It can't absorb water quickly. So when you do get these projected increases in extreme localized downpours, even short, intense bursts of rain can cause rapid flash flooding. The water just runs straight off.
Right. So low overall rainfall doesn't mean no flood risk. It can actually make it worse when the rain does come hard and fast.
Exactly. Baked ground, intense rain. It's a dangerous combination.
So yeah, this deep dive really paints a complex picture, doesn't it? These stark contrasts across Europe. It feels like a really powerful illustration of how global warming isn't uniform. It plays out regionally, upping the stakes with both chronic heat and these acute, intense weather bombshells.
Absolutely. And it really highlights why we need continuous updated weather assessments and, agile response planning, being ready to adapt quickly. Understanding these patterns isn't just about packing an umbrella tomorrow. It's about recognizing the evolving climate challenges we're all facing.
So as you go about your week, maybe think about that. How a single weather event you hear about, maybe even experience, however local it seems, how might it be one small piece fitting into this much larger global puzzle? What will you discover next about our interconnected world?